Hey everybody, my name's Edward and you're watching The Beatdown. The Beatdown is a series where we pin off superheroes and supervillains against each other to see who would come out on top in a one-on-one fight. Sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Today's matchup is Green Arrow versus Ra's al Ghul. Two DC characters who've had minor or no interactions with each other besides the show Arrow. I'm going to go over their background, equipment, feats, and support that they could have if they choose to use it. Starting off with Green Arrow. Green Arrow, formerly known as Oliver Jonas Queen. People refer to him as Ollie. He is a male. He is about 5'10 and 176 pounds. Net worth, roughly $7 billion. With that $7 billion, you could say he has enough money to take on crime fighting. His occupations include being an adventurer, a vigilante, and a businessman. His base of operation is Star City, Seattle. His citizenship is North America, United States. Moving on to the equipment that Ollie uses. His signature weapon is a bow and arrow, specifically a compound bow. He has been seen using a recurve bow from time to time if the mission calls for it. Using trick arrows, which is no surprise, with different type of attachments to give him the advantage over an opponent. Along with that, his green suit is also a signature icon of the Green Arrow. Ollie uses this suit out on missions. It's mostly bulletproof to protect him from gunfire, along with giving him the ability to disguise himself from his enemies. Now this list isn't a comprehensive list of everything he has, because he uses multiple tools depending on the mission. He might use different tools such as a sword or combat knife, but his primary weapon that he performs best with is his bow. Moving on to his abilities and powers. The Green Arrow, like Batman, has no superpowers, but his abilities outperform the average person. He's an expert at archery, acrobatics, gadgetry, hunting, interrogation, investigation, espionage, martial arts such as boxing, karate, jiu-jitsu, judo, stick fighting. He's in peak human condition. He knows survival, tracking, and weaponry, just to name a few minor skills that he contains. His abilities go above and beyond the average person, and could almost be compared to Batman. The characters are very similar, though have two totally different personality types. Here are the top 3 feats Green Arrow has accomplished as his time as the Green Arrow. Defeating Superman, shooting 2 arrows into a barrel of a gun while falling down upside down, and working alongside the Justice League. Now, to a comic book reader, these may not seem impressive, but compared to the average person, these are extremely amazing feats. Defeating Superman, who is a literal god, is an amazing feat, and I think everyone in the Justice League has defeated Superman at least once. For Green Arrow, this is a big feat. Defeating Superman, a god, shows that you have what it takes to work amongst them, and to fight alongside them. Moving down to the last bit of information, that is support. The Green Arrow has many channels of support, but his primary channel of support is the Arrow team. These members can range from Black Canary, Roy, Red Arrow, John Diggy, Amico Queen, and Henry Fife. These members are his support class. He doesn't always use them, but when he goes on missions, occasionally he will. That's everything for Green Arrow. Now we're moving on to Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul is a primary villain for Batman, and this is his background. Formerly known as Ra's al Ghul, he is a male. He stands about 6'4" and 215 pounds. You can say that he is a beefcake. His net worth is roughly $1 billion currently, but it is assumed that it's an unlimited amount of wealth in which he contains due to his immortality. His occupations consist of being an international terrorist mastermind and being one of the leaders of the League of Shadows. His base of operation is unknown, normally anywhere the League of Shadows has a hideout or base. His citizenship is unknown. His primary equipment that he uses is a very short list, but a very handy one. The Lazarus Pit and a sword. The Lazarus Pit, if you don't know what it is a pit that can perfectly heal any wound or condition. It also occasionally can bring a person back from the dead. Though if you're bringing someone back from the dead, there will be some horrible repercussions, and they're more than likely to end up as a zombie or a shell of their former self. He normally fights with a sword as his primary weapon. Abilities. Since Ra's is over 700 years old, he's had time to perfect almost any skill, whether that's from cooking, combat, leadership, or learning a great deal about anything. He has the time to perfect almost anything. Some of his abilities include archery, He has a genius level IQ. He shows great leadership, martial arts. He's in peak human condition, an excellent sword fighter, incredible tactical analysis ability, and a master in weaponry. His list of abilities can be almost infinitely long. For the character who's lived so long, he was able to achieve so much more than your average person or hero. One of the greatest feats he's ever done was beat Batman in a one-on-one fight, cut a man completely in half with his sword, and live over 700 years. He is definitely not the run-of-the-mill baddie. Moving on to support, the League of Assassins, or League of Shadows. The League of Shadows is his primary support unit. He uses them to complete almost any mission he ever has, without having to get his hands dirty. It's a great tool he uses frequently. With all this info on Raish and Green Arrow, who do you think is the winner of today's matchup? The winner is... Ghul. Here's my reasoning. If you're a Green Arrow fan, sorry not sorry. Raish takes the crown in a one-on-one fight. He's been alive for such a long time, he's refined his skills in almost any martial art and any skill set, including archery. Along with his genius level IQ, Ollie doesn't stand a chance because of the amount of time Raish has to train. Raish has been training his whole life, for over 700 years. That amount of time gives anyone enough time to master anything and to become an extreme expert at it. Now, since it's a one-on-one fight without support groups, Raish would definitely take the crown. But what about with support groups? Personally, if they were able to use their support group, Green Arrow using Team Arrow and Raish using the League of Shadows, Raish would still win. The League of Shadows can easily overwhelm Team Arrow just by the sheer numbers. They're all well-trained assassins by Raish and Deathstroke himself. Now, there are more support classes for Green Arrow. I didn't include the Justice League or the Light for Raish because I'll be here all day matching them up. I picked the most common support group they use when dealing with threats. In conclusion, Raish would win against Green Arrow in a one-on-one fight, and if they use their support groups to aid in that fight, Raish would still come out on top. If you think otherwise, let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you want to see any other matchups, leave a comment below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time on